WDAY. 970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM. Fargo-Moorhead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this chilly Monday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm here with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And we're all in studio today, and we hope that you're watching us either on Facebook or YouTube Live, as well as on Acres TV, or you can always find us here on WDAY Radio. Fun things coming up on the show today. We have a guest, Greg Lardy, NDSU Harvest Bowl. Bridgette, you want to elaborate a little bit more on what Lloyd does? Or Greg?
Greg, so Harvest Bowl is a tradition that started in 1973. So Harvest Bowl and I are the same age. Yay! And that brings together NDSU athletics along with agriculture. There's a lot of student athletes that major in ag. This is a way to celebrate the two as a tradition. There's a banquet on Friday night, the 18th, as well as the football game on the 19th against what was always my college rival, University of North Dakota. And Greg's going to talk about that interaction. He's the Vice President for Agricultural Affairs at NDSU, and we can quiz him on all great things, NDSU and College of Ag.
Oh, great. Well, we can't wait to have Greg on with us at 1:20, so we hope you stick around to join us. And if you have any questions for Greg or comments, or you just want to join our conversation anytime throughout the show, feel free to give us a jingle, 701-293-9000. Again, that phone number displayed on the screen for those watching, 701-293-9000, or you can always reach us via email during or after the show at weatherorag@flagfamily.com. Other things coming up on the show today, a handful of ag topics that we're going to get to. We'll leave those a mystery for right now. And as well, we need to touch on the forecast because we might be dealing with our first major winter storm of the season.
It's not even winter yet.
It's not even winter. Technically, no, it's not. It's still fall.
Even meteorological winter doesn't start till December 1st.
So I thought you were going to say storm of the century, and I thought, not already. It's
oh,
only
no,
November.
that was last year's storm down in Texas. That
All
was
right, good.
Once in a century storm, although it wouldn't surprise me to see another one like that sometime.
Man,
that was just literally the perfect storm. Just such impact that it just, what a mess. Fun to watch, but what a mess it made.
Well, somebody in the state's going to be dealing with a mess, and it's favoring areas out to our west from Jamestown, Bismarck area north up towards Grand Forks, where blizzard conditions could be a pretty good possibility as we head into Thursday of this week. So if you have any travel plans going west, please be up to date on the forecast, winter weather survival kit in your car, because when you're dealing with 30, 40-mile-an-hour winds and we're getting all indications of a foot or more of snow out to our west easily, that could really pose some big travel problems come the Thursday of this week. So we're going to be right on the kind of dividing line between not much snow from, let's say, Wahpeton over towards Fergus, we're an inch or so, and then the further north and west you go from there, it increases significantly. So even a small, people say, well, does the track of the storm really make that big of a difference? When it comes to winter storms, it really does. Just a 50-mile change in the track of the storm could mean us getting an inch or less to 10 inches or more. I mean, and that's it sounds crazy, but 50 miles can make a huge difference when you have that dynamic and that strong of a storm.
And frankly, folks to that western and northern area aren't going to complain about getting some moisture. Now,
and they might complain about the wind.
They're going to complain about the wind. They do have the opportunity, though. You are giving them a heads up well in advance to be prepared. That's why a lot of folks have already been moving cows home, wrapping up harvest. We're getting as many things prepared as we can.
The other friendly reminder to go along with that, I don't think anybody has really had to use their snowblower yet this year. It probably hasn't ran since
last year,
April,
so make sure it's working.
So make sure it's got clean gas, it runs. You got to get a new plug. You got a few days to get it up and going. Not that all of us are going to need it, but there's probably a good chunk of people somewhere around our area that are definitely going to need it come Friday morning, even maybe Thursday night. It might be a two-blower one.
It could be a two-blower one, especially
one
when
at night, one in the morning.
Especially when you factor in the wind. We have to pay our bills. We're going to say hello to ABC News real quick, and when we come back, we've got a weather trivia question that you're not going to be able to Google to find the answer. right? We tried.
Good luck Googling
Good
it.
luck Googling.
This isn't the how hard you got to slap a frozen chicken to cook it in one slap kind of question.
No, not that. So we're going to go turn this over to ABC News. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. The midterm elections are tomorrow. Many of the claims of election fraud are coming from Republicans running for offices in Arizona. That's prompting security concerns for elections officials there.
Here outside the Maricopa County Elections Office, there are barricades and fencing up all the way around the building. Private security with cars that say surveillance on them, watching anybody who's hanging around outside. This was ground zero in 2020 for the Trump-pushed conspiracy theories and protests, claims about problems with the vote count in this county, problems that did not exist to an extent that would have changed the election. Alex Stone, ABC News, Phoenix.
President Biden continues campaigning for Democrats and the case to keep them in charge in Congress. Stumping for New York Governor Kathy Hochul on Sunday, he said the choice could not be more clear.
What happened last time under my predecessor? The economy left it in ruins. He's the first president in America since Herbert Hoover to lose more jobs than he had when he came to office.
The U.S. Senate race in Pennsylvania is getting a lot of attention. Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Mehmet Oz. Fetterman campaigning Sunday in the Philadelphia suburbs. Barbara Keele-Banya is a former Republican who's voting Democratic on Tuesday.
I didn't like the way the party, where it was headed. It's the party of hate. They hate everybody except the white male.
Home Depot workers in Philadelphia overwhelmingly rejected the first store-wide labor union at the world's largest home improvement retailer. The National Labor Relations Board says the vote was 165 to 51 against forming what would have been called Home Depot Workers United. What was the largest lottery jackpot in U.S. history has gotten even bigger. No one won Powerball's big prize Saturday night. The $1.6 billion jackpot swells to $1.9 billion for tonight's draw. You're listening to ABC News.
DeWalt, a leader in total job site solutions, declares that the construction industry is in a state of significant transformation. With more insights, here's President of Power Tools and Technology for DeWalt, Allison Nicolaitis.
We know there is a wide-reaching gap in skilled labor that's threatening the future of residential and commercial construction as an industry. In fact, more than half of U.S. contractors feel a lack of skilled workers is a barrier to growing their current business. DeWalt is fully committed to supporting the needs of contractors and home builders. We tackle workforce development issues and will continue to provide innovative products and technologies to modernize their job sites.
DeWalt is raising awareness on these challenges and is helping to address the skills deficit with the launch of the DeWalt Trades Scholarship.
We know the importance of providing mentorship and educational opportunities to future generations of tradespeople. That's why DeWalt is committed to putting a heavier spotlight on these challenges and taking a lead role in supporting the industry.
To learn more about DeWalt's commitment to closing the skills gap, visit DeWalt.com.
Guess who's attacking Measure 1 and the term limits that 81% of North Dakota voters support?
Let me guess. Career politicians and lobbyists?
You got it. Term limits are working for the people in 36 other states. And with a yes vote on Measure 1, term limits will finally be put to work for us.
I agree. In North Dakota, citizens should be in charge, not career politicians. I'm voting yes on Measure 1 for term limits. Paid for by U.S. Term Limits. Howard Rich, Chairman.
Hi, this is Representative Ruth Buffalo with a friendly reminder to get out and vote in this November election. If you haven't voted already, make sure to stop by the early voting locations that open on Halloween and go through November 3rd. Throughout my first term, I have fought for new laws that focus on human trafficking prevention and awareness training, a missing persons database, and getting the database fully funded. I will continue to be a strong voice for you in Bismarck, fighting for our working families. Paid for by Friends of Ruth Buffalo, Aaron Busick, Treasurer.
Why High Plains Apache? Well, there are so many reasons it's why High Plains Apache. Ask your neighbors about their sales and service or new and used deals on sprayers. The parts and service department, and yes, a very well-respected sales department. Everything you'll need to get started this season with the sprayers for your operation. You'll find out a lot more at the website, High Plains Apache Sprayers. You'll find them at highplainsapache.com. That's highplainsapache.com.
Find trustworthy car repair.
Okay, here's what I found.
Hi, I'm Matthew, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. We're confident that we can handle whatever your vehicle needs. From hybrid cars to full-size trucks, no job is too big or too small for our ASE certified technicians. We focus on quality, integrity, and giving back to the community at each of our 3 Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo locations. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us. 1:13 in the afternoon, 27 degrees, mostly cloudy, light wind out of the southwest at 3 miles an hour. We'll touch on that forecast here in just a minute because windy conditions will be returning. We'll see a little bit of rain, some snow and wind. Yes. All of the above?
Yeah, it's probably not going to be pretty around here towards Thursday and Friday of this week. Just a heads up, if you have travel plans, keep up to date on the forecast. And with snow in the forecast and with what some of our computer models are printing out, some pretty healthy totals out to our west. So I said to Justin this morning, I said, what's the record snowfall for Fargo? So we Googled it, and
one storm. Record snow in one storm.
Not record snow in a 24-hour period.
Or a whole season.
Record amount of snow that Fargo has received in one storm. So that could be a 2-day storm.
Okay, that's what my clarification was
it could be
there.
in fact, it is a 2-day storm. So what's the most snow Fargo has received in a storm? How much? What's our record amount of snow that Fargo has received in a storm? And if you have the answer, 701-293-9000, 701-293-9000. We are giving away one of our productive alternative rain gauges. Ooh, these babies are nice.
Covenant rain gauge. I still get emails asking if people can just buy them from us.
You can. Productive
I'm
alternatives.
Like, you can buy them on Productive Alternatives, but not from me.
But we
I'm
would
giving those away for free.
That you call in to participate in things that we do like this.
Yes.
And then we will give you not only one of those stellar rain gauges from Productive Alternatives, it has our logo on it for WDAY, and then we will ask you to continue to send us your weather reports as well.
So, you want to take that?
Jacob just picked it up.
Okay, so what is the most snow? Just put them through, Jacob.
He's learning whether or not this person has the right answer, and that's what we like to see.
Yeah. Are you kidding? There's no way somebody could Google search that. We looked up and down. We couldn't find it. So.
All right. Caller, thanks for calling. What's your name? What's your guess?
Hello?
Caller, are you there?
Oh, somebody got shy.
Hello? Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. What's your name? What's your guess?
My name is Grant, and I'm going to pull this out of the hat. I'm even going to try to give the year.
Ooh.
Well, if he's right on. Tell you what, if you can get not only the amount, we'll give you the rain gauge if you can get the amount, but if you can get the year and the dates along with it, we'll throw in a hat.
Okay. I'm going to guess the year was 1978, and it was up like on 19th Avenue North where those people froze to death where the thing went over the top, and I'm going to guess 29 inches of snow.
No, you're not.
I'm way off.
You're not far off. You're off on the year. You're way off on the year. But was it? How bad was it? It was pretty bad. That was 78?
Yeah, well, that was where, remember 19th Avenue back then, that was like out of town, and there was like 6-7 people froze to death up there because they couldn't.
Right.
They got stuck in their snowbanks.
Yeah, it was close. Well, thanks for calling, Grant. We appreciate you listening to us here on...
Yeah, I gave it the college try.
Yeah, good
sure
guess.
Did.
Good guess.
All right, let's see if we can get Jerry on here now, and see if I can bring you on. Jerry, you there?
Yep.
What's your guess?
I believe it was 1998, actually, and I think it was 27 inches.
Oh, no. What
right
year?
Year wrong.
The year was wrong, and yeah, the amount was too. But that's a good guess. That's close.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling,
That's
Jerry.
close. So again, the trivia question is, what is the largest snowfall Fargo has ever received in a single storm? And again, it could be a 2-day storm. It's not the 24-hour record. We know what that is, but this is the largest amount of snow that Fargo has ever received in a single storm.
Yep. All right, Dan, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. What's your guess?
I'm way off, but I was thinking like 16 inches in like the early 80s.
See, the record for 24-hour snowfall was 16.9. So but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the largest single total that we've gotten out of one storm here in Fargo, and it was a 2-day storm.
Mm-hmm.
So again, what's the largest snowfall total that we've received here in a storm here in Fargo?
Yep. Thanks for calling, Dan.
Yep.
All right.
We're getting some good guesses.
Get some good guesses.
And again, we're giving away one of our productive alternative rain gauges. These babies are heavy duty, and if you can name, so if you get the amount, you win the rain gauge. If you can get the year, not even the dates, but if you can get the year along with it, we'll throw in a hat. It's tough. This is a tough trivia question.
Yeah, it definitely
is.
is. And we're going to have to get our guest on the line. So we'll return back to our, well, let's see. We got one more right here. Let's see if I can get you on here real quick. Caller, what's your name? What's your guess?
Sandy. The ones are 96, 97, and 26 inches.
Oh, she's close.
Close. Not
You
the
are
year.
not the year, but you are close on the total.
Right,
you are close on the snowfall total.
Thanks for calling, Sandy. Good luck next time.
Thank you so much. Again, we're giving away one of our productive alternative rain gauges.
Right.
What's the largest snow amount we've ever received from a single storm? Not the 24-hour record, but the snowfall record for one storm here in Fargo.
Right, and we're just giving one guess per person. We got to keep this fair. We can't just guess and guess and guess. And then we got should we head to
We have
head to
time for
break?
one
Or
more.
we got time? I got two callers on the line right now. Let's just take them real quick. All right, caller, welcome to Weather and Egg in Focus. What's your name and your guess?
Dennis.
Dennis?
Yeah.
All right, what's your guess, Dennis?
Oh, let's go 9.5 inches.
Oh, nope. This is
No.
the record for a single day was 16. We're looking for the total for one storm. Thanks for the guess, Dennis. And, we just lost you. Caller, if you want to call back, I can maybe get you in right before we introduce our guest. But we're going to head to break here, get our guest on the line with us. When we return, Greg Lardy will be joining us. And again, we hope you give us a call to join our conversation, 701-293-9000.
Busch Light Apple is back for 2022. It's not a cider. It's actually a beer that tastes like apple and goes down smooth.
It's been a popular seasonal beer the last 2 years, coming out with the apple harvest, and this is the third and final year they'll produce this beer. So if you've not tasted it, this year is your last chance. And if you liked it last year, then you better get to the liquor store before they're gone. Clear, crisp, light beer in the red apple colored can.
Find it in your neighborhood liquor store and take it home to your backyard or the lake. Busch Light Apple, get it now.
I'm David Chapman. I'm a candidate for judge. For 25 years, I've enjoyed tremendous success in our community, but it is time to give back. I love freedom, our country, and our Constitution. If elected, I will enforce the law as it is written, not as I wish it were written. I invite you to visit Chapman for Judge on Facebook, and I would be honored to serve.
Paid for by David Chapman.
Do you run diesel? ATI Fargo has bulletproofing on your 6.0 vehicles. Looking to get fleet work done? ATI Fargo has you covered. They have fuel system disaster prevention kits for your 6.7 Power Strokes. ATI Fargo can get your Cummins head studded and never think of it again. Do you own a business and need quick turnaround on repairs? Call ATI Fargo. Stop in at 2764 44th Avenue North in Fargo. Running diesel? Check out ATI Fargo and give them a call at 218-639-5017.
I'm Carter Eisinger. It's time to get serious about putting North Dakota kids first. We must defend parental rights through all decisions in our children's education. We must reduce wasteful administrative bloat in the budget and instead prioritize our teachers and the classroom. Finally, we must protect local control of education through the school board, not top-down standards and policies from Washington, D.C. On November 8th, vote Brad Leeser and Carter Eisinger.
Paid for by District 11 Republicans.
When my little girl has a stuffy nose, she just can't rest. Mom? And neither can I. So I use Vicks Sinex Children's Saline Nasal Mist to instantly clear her mucus right at the source. It provides fast, drug-free relief from everyday stuffy noses. It's relief for both of us.
Vicks Sinex Children's Saline. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey listener, welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it!
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette, Readel Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Meteorologist Extraordinaire Justin Storm. We are happy to be in studio today with you listening to us. And don't forget that tomorrow's Election Day. And for your Election Day coverage, make sure that you tune right here on WDAY as election returns come in. We're going to start at 8 o'clock and last until all the results are in. So pay attention. You're going to want to hear what we have to say and give you all the fastest coverage possible for Election Night 2022. Today, we're going to do something that's not election related, but even more fun, because our guest today is Greg Lardy. He is the Vice President for Agricultural Affairs at North Dakota State University. So, Greg, how are you today?
Bridgette, great to be with you. Thanks for the invitation to join your audience this afternoon.
Well, much appreciated. And as always, I know that you are a wealth of information for all of our agricultural questions up at NDSU, but let's just back up a moment. Even though you are currently Vice President of Agricultural Affairs, you didn't just start that yesterday. What have you done to get to that position, Greg? What have been your prior items on your resume, you might say?
Yeah, great question. So I started here at NDSU in 1997 as the beef cattle extension specialist. So spent a dozen years in that role, traveling the state and the region, talking to ranchers and veterinarians and feed people about beef cattle nutrition, and then spent 9 years as department head in animal sciences, and then the last 4.5 years in various facets of administration here in a broader part of agriculture, and then the last 3 years as vice president for Ag Affairs.
And you get to touch on pretty much anything agriculturally related at NDSU when it comes to College of Ag and Extension as well, or is there a separation in those two roles?
No, that's my role includes the extension portfolio, the experiment station portfolio, and the college portfolio. So it's a really exciting job. It's a job I love.
I'm glad to hear that, because I hate for you to go to work every day and not enjoy it, Greg. Thank you. We're happy to have that. So one of my favorite things that come around this time of year at NDSU is the Harvest Bowl. And with Harvest Bowl, would you like to give us a little introduction of that history? I've got some of it, but I bet you have more.
Yeah, it's an event that we're celebrating our 48th annual Harvest Bowl this year. So it's an event that brings together agriculture and athletics at NDSU. So, two of the great kind of foundation sorts of things that our university is known for. And, we get to honor some of our outstanding athletes and student athletes with some scholarships. We get to honor an agribusiness honoree, and then we also honor an honoree couple typically from each of the 53 counties in North Dakota and 10 of the western Minnesota counties that NDSU interacts with on a regular basis. So that is a fun event, and it's really just a celebration of excellence across those platforms.
So when you think about what you do for that weekend, there's quite a lengthy agenda of items for folks. So where does that weekend start for those attendees for Harvest Bowl, and what all goes on for them?
Yeah, the honorees will come in on Friday, typically Friday afternoon, Bridgette, and they'll get settled in the hotel. So Friday evening is a large banquet, typically one of probably the largest events that the Delta does. We generally get between 750 and 800 people at that banquet, and it's just jam-packed with people from agriculture across the state and region. So fun event that evening, celebrating with them, and then that Saturday morning they'll come up to campus and they'll get to do some tours, see some of our facilities, and hear from some of our faculty, and then they'll join the tailgating crowd for a little bit of time at tailgating, and then get tickets to the football game and get to cheer the Bison on. Of course, this year the big game is with UND, and so it's going to be a fun one to host our in-state rivals for Harvest Bowl.
I can't wait until Justin Storm and I are betting on this later in the weather office, because a couple of rival alumni here behind the microphones today.
Definitely.
So, Greg, with Harvest Bowl, and as you mentioned, you have honorees from all 53 counties in the state of North Dakota, the 10 border counties of Minnesota. What would the criteria be for farm families to be considered as an honoree at Harvest Bowl?
Yeah, these are handled on a county-by-county basis, Bridgette. So generally speaking, the county extension agent is working with their Crop and Livestock Improvement Association of that county to come up with a list of names for their awards committee to review. But generally speaking, I mean, it's an award for outstanding agriculturalists at the county level. And so, obviously part of what they're looking for is what have they done with their agricultural operation or agricultural business that they're running. But I think also when you listen to those biographies and read the biographies that are in the program and see what some of these families are doing, you're going to see all sorts of service activity, whether that's leading 4-H clubs, involved with their local ambulance service, on volunteer fire departments, serving on school boards, township officers, county commissioners, all of those sort of things that happen across our rural communities that we need good leaders for. These folks are involved in, and so you see, very entrepreneurial activities. It's always fun to see the list of crops and livestock that they're raising if they're involved actually in production agriculture, and then a number of them are involved in some sort of business activity too. It might be a seed dealership or a feed dealership, or it might be something that they're doing in partnership with someone else. But a lot of just really great things that make up the fabric of our rural communities happen with these folks, and it really is a locally driven process. I was in fact just this morning signing the award certificates that each of those honorees will get, and of course when you go through that, I recognize a lot of names because it's people that I've interacted with, and in some cases been classmates with, and just known from across the state. And so kind of fun to see those names come across. And then this morning was snapping a few pictures and sending out a text message with a little congratulatory note to a few of them, just to remind them that I'm signing them, and that looking forward to seeing them in a few days.
Well, Greg, being in your position as long as you have with Extension and NDSU around the state for so many years, and a lot of familiarity with the people that you've been working with, and that's happened for quite some time. So thank you for making sure that they feel welcome for their weekend at NDSU. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to touch base with our commercials for just a moment. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Greg Lardy. He is the Vice President of Agricultural Affairs at NDSU, and there's going to be a couple other things we want to know. Who is the Agriculturalist of the Year for Harvest Bowl 2022? And how many dollars in scholarships will we be giving away to student athletes who are involved in the College of Ag? We'll do that right after this.
In public, Rick Becker says he opposes federal crop insurance for our farmers and ranchers.
No, I don't support any federal insurance.
But behind closed doors, he has reaped hundreds of thousands of dollars from the government for his businesses, $200,000 in property tax breaks alone. And despite getting all of this government money for his businesses, Becker opposes a vital program like federal crop insurance for our farmers and ranchers. In fact, without federal crop insurance, North Dakota is just one natural disaster away from wiping out our state's ag industry. And when challenged about the government support his businesses received, Becker callously said,
"Don't hate the player, hate the game."
Rick Becker will end federal crop insurance, and North Dakota farm families will pay the price.
North Dakota Strong, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at northdakotastrong.org.
I'm Carter Eisinger. It's time to get serious about putting North Dakota kids first. We must defend parental rights through all decisions in our children's education. We must reduce wasteful administrative bloat in the budget and instead prioritize our teachers and the classroom. Finally, we must protect local control of education through the school board, not top-down standards and policies from Washington, D.C. On November 8th, vote Brad Leeser and Carter Eisinger.
Paid for by District 11 Republicans.
My name is Kim Hegvik, and I'm running for Cass County State's Attorney. As a prosecutor in Cass County for over 16 years, I have focused on making our community safer by holding offenders accountable. My Smart on Crime approach will keep our community safe by incarcerating dangerous and repeat offenders while addressing the root causes of criminal behavior, like mental illness and addiction. Please vote for me, Kim Hegvik, for Cass County State's Attorney.
Paid for by Kim for Cass County. Janet Tronier, Treasurer.
Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. Don't miss our weekend special. Save 40% on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition smart bed plus special financing. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, we personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Hi, my name is Rohith, and I'm a junior at Fargo South. I moved here with my parents at an early age, and I plan to study civil engineering in college. The reason I'm so hopeful about my future is Legacy Children's Foundation. I want to thank the amazing donors who are complete strangers to me. I am amazed by their generosity. Because of them, Legacy Youth receives resources and positive relationships to become educated leaders. Find out more at legacychildrensfoundation.com.
Welcome to WDAY. Oh, goodness, I can't even speak properly today.
It's Monday.
It is. But this is Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette, Readel, Ag Director, along with our crack meteorology staff, Dean Wysocki and Justin Storm. And we have the great fun and privilege today of visiting with Greg Lardy. He is the Vice President for Agricultural Affairs at North Dakota State University. And Greg, I prompted you with some questions before we went to the break, and there'll be more, but first things first, when it comes to Harvest Bowl next weekend on November 18th and 19th, can you tell me who's getting Agriculturalist of the Year?
Yeah, that is Dr. Ken Grafton will be our agribusiness honoree this year. And so, of course, Ken's got a long history with NDSU, spent his entire career here, first as a dry bean breeder and then ultimately as director of the experiment station and then Vice President for Agricultural Affairs, and then for a short period of time also as the provost. So Ken's got a long history of working tirelessly and, furthering the mission of agriculture here at NDSU, and especially strengthening, I think, relationships with the legislature and making sure that a strong funding system was in place there.
And Greg, just curious, over the last 10 years, what does enrollment look like in the ag department? Are there more and more kids enrolling, or is it declining?
Actually, yeah, we've seen we peaked about 6 years ago, and then our enrollments declined. We're just about 1,200 students in the college, including graduate students and undergraduate students, and so we definitely are looking for more students. There's a lot of job opportunities out there for our graduates, and we would welcome an opportunity to talk to prospective students and get more people involved in these careers.
You looking to go back, Dean? Maybe we can get you hooked up with something in ag now that you've become a sideline expert here on this show.
Well, he's already pulling over on the side of the roads to check out the fields.
I know. We start doing a radio show, and you guys are checking the fields and looking at the weather in a whole different perspective.
Right. Greg, I was wondering, you had mentioned you had like 1,200 students, undergrad and graduate students. Do you know by chance what are some of the projects that your graduate students are working on or towards in the program?
Yeah, number of different things. Of course, we've got strong research programs in really almost every facet of agriculture, but we've got some exciting projects going on in our agrobiome area with some of the work that's being done with microbes that are associated with the soil and plant health. We've also got some pretty cool projects going on in precision agriculture with some robotics and some sensor sorts of things that can identify some very specific weeds and do some see and spray sort of things with that. And then, a lot of the breeding programs and plant pathology programs, animal science programs, just a lot of good research happening in those areas. But it's an exciting time. I think our graduate students have a lot of opportunities in front of them in terms of jobs that they're going to have access to, and a lot of interest, I think, in startup companies wanting to get more involved in agriculture, which is going to mean some interesting things happening for job opportunities for our graduates as well.
And with drones becoming more and more popular, and with UND getting their drone grants and everything up there, are you guys seeing any turn towards research with drones or implementing drones with agriculture at the school, or is that something that's been a thought that you want to move in that direction a little bit, or at least incorporate?
Yep, our Ag and Biosystems Engineering Department and a number of other units have been working with drones, both small and large drones, for several years. We've got projects that are using drones to identify, problem weeds in fields and do imaging about a number of different crop management sorts of things. Also, we're interested in using those drones to count livestock and pastures and some of those sort of applications. So lots of things that are happening on that front. And then, of course, we're also beginning to use some of that imagery, not necessarily from drones, but from robotics on the ground, with taking images of plants that might be then used in predicting plant performance, using in our breeding programs for prediction of some of those traits and so on.
So when it comes to research, NDSU really has had a long-standing reputation, because earlier this year we talked about the fact that Dr. Susie Thompson was part of the potato research that brought forward the potato that is currently being most recommended, if you will, by McDonald's for use with their fries. Dry bean research here, and Dr. Ken Grafton, who's going to be the Harvest Bowl honoree this next weekend, he also was very instrumental in a lot of the research work that's been done for the entire nation on dry edible beans. We see cereals work. A lot of our breeding programs here really support what happens in barley, wheat, etc. around the world. So our research programs are at the forefront of what happens and gets spread out so far. A lot of that comes from the fact that we are a land-grant university. And for those who don't know, Greg, could you describe why NDSU is a land-grant, what brings us to that status, and how we keep it?
Yeah, so our land-grant status was established by the Morrill Act in 1862. And that act that was signed during the Civil War actually created a system of having colleges that studied and provided education in agriculture, the mechanical arts, military science across the nation. So every state has at least one land grant. Some of us have several. So you had the 1862 Act that created the 1862 land grants. You had the 1890 Act that created the historically black colleges and universities that also have land grant status. And then more recently, in 1994, we have a number of tribal colleges that are considered land grants as well. And so there's actually 5 of those in North Dakota. So to maintain that status, basically what we do is we work in conjunction with our federal partners, which is USDA has a branch agency called National Institute for Food and Agriculture. They provide our funding that maintains our land grant status. And so we do both extension programming and research programming related to that land grant status. And so we have a number of what we call multi-state projects where we're working across state lines to solve some of the bigger issues that are out there relative to agriculture and food production systems across the nation. And so we have, that Land Grant Act, the Morrill Act, really created a system that was much different from an educational standpoint for our population than what they had come from as they immigrated. So if you think of Europe, that was typically education was reserved for the rich classes or the people that had privilege. And so this act created a system where the masses of people could be educated in a educational program for college education that they would not have had access to in any other way. And so it really did revolutionize, I think, this country.
Well, I do have to laugh a little bit because here at Research at NDSU, as a land grant, I also know that Nebraska's land grant is University of Nebraska. Dean's a Nebraska fan, but you guys may have brought the McRib through meat science. We got the French fries. I just wanted to hang our hat on that.
I think the French fries a little more popular.
As two land grant universities, that's how you got us to be land grants, and we win. So, yes.
Greg, I was wondering, how far of a reach does the school of NDSU have? How far out are either clients or people in the field asking for your students or work with the school?
Yeah, it really is a global reach. So we have, our footprint from an undergraduate educational perspective would be predominantly Midwest. So if you think of, upper Midwest states, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, South Dakota, that's our primary draw for undergraduate education. But we have undergraduates that come from all over the United States. We have graduate students that come worldwide. And so we have a lot of graduate students that will join us from all over Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, a number of relationships where we have basically what we call memorandums of understanding or agreements where we're exchanging students or bringing students from other countries to get them a chance to, come and visit our programs, see what we're doing, in some cases pursue a degree here. We've got alumni all over the world, and we've got research projects that our scientists are doing with literally people all over the world. And so it is a worldwide reach when you think about NDSU agriculture and the reputation that we have.
And what's the employment rate for your graduates there once they get done? What's the percentage of people that are going to jobs right out of school?
It's very good. It varies from major to major, of course, but I would say in general, most of our students in most of our majors, it's probably 85% and above. So if they're graduating, they're going to find work. Part of it depends on, their willingness to relocate for that first position. Mm-hmm. And if they're willing to move, around the country or in the region, they're going to be able to find a job. There's a really good job market out there. I just came back from a conference a couple weeks ago in Lincoln, Nebraska, as a matter of fact, and talking there with other people in similar positions to mine and our industry partners. And industry is looking for more and more ag graduates. There's jobs out there in all sorts of different companies, all sorts of different fields, and whether the student's interested in finance and marketing or more of the bench science or, working with animals, lots of job opportunities that are out there. And I think an employer base that's really looking for students from our part of the world that have great work ethic and want to go and do some really fun things in agriculture and the food system.
Right. And along with that, what you just mentioned, we got about a minute left there, Greg. Why should somebody choose NDSU for ag?
Well, I think you look at the caliber of our faculty. You mentioned Susie Thompson, world-renowned in terms of potato breeding, but that's not a unique story. We've got people in every department and every program that have an international reputation. Students want to come and learn from the best, and that's what NDSU gives them a chance to do, is come to a university that has a focus on agriculture, understands what it means to raise cattle or to work out in the fields and raise the crops here. And they're going to have a great education here, and they're going to have good job opportunities when they're done.
Greg Lardy, who again, Vice President for Agricultural Affairs at North Dakota State University, thank you so kindly for being our guest today. We wanted to talk about Harvest Bowl that's upcoming, as well as what's happening in the College of Agriculture, and you've done a stellar job of answering our questions.
Right.
I will let you know what I win from Justin when the Bison beat UND in
Greg,
the
do you got a
Bowl
prediction
game.
on the score?
I'm going to say Bison 35-17.
Ooh, write that down. We're going to put
right.
you will be officially on a sticky note in the weather office, Greg. All right. We will be back after a catch up with the American Ag Network to hear our markets, and we will have a moment to visit after that to recap weather around the country.
Busch Light Apple is back for 2022. It's not a cider. It's actually a beer that tastes like apple and goes down smooth.
It's been a popular seasonal beer the last 2 years coming out with the apple harvest, and this is the third and final year they'll produce this beer. So if you've not tasted it, this year is your last chance. And if you liked it last year, then you better get to the liquor store before they're gone. Clear, crisp, light beer in the red apple colored can.
Find it in your neighborhood liquor store and take it home to your backyard or the lake. Busch Light Apple, get it now.
Angry outbursts, bullying, harassment, and emotional abuse. The allegations against State Senate candidate Dan Bomer are horrifying. Divorce records say the cops were called to Bomer's home multiple times, and he had to be escorted from a doctor's office by police. Worse, Bomer recorded his young son while he showered. He recorded his wife while she slept and broke into their bedroom after she barricaded the door. Bomer even made her drive herself to the doctor while suffering a miscarriage. After their divorce, Bomer paid his child support late, too, weeks at a time, failing to provide for his young children. After all that, Dan Bomer wants to represent us in the state Senate. But after calling his own wife a cunt, stupid, a parasite, we should never call Dan Bomer's senator.
This independent expenditure is paid for by the DFL Senate Caucus. It is not coordinated with or approved by any candidate, nor is any candidate responsible for it.
Hi, this is Representative Ruth Buffalo with a friendly reminder to get out and vote in this November election. If you haven't voted already, make sure to stop by the early voting locations that open on Halloween and go through November 3rd. Throughout my first term, I have fought for new laws that focus on human trafficking prevention and awareness training, a missing persons database, and getting the database fully funded. I will continue to be a strong voice for you in Bismarck, fighting for our working families. Paid for by Friends of Ruth Buffalo, Aaron Busick, Treasurer.
Grains were mixed to lower, while the livestock complex was strong. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Respett with this closing market. Overnight, all three grains were lower on the market. However, soon after the opening bell, beans turned to the upside and wheat led the way higher. However, beans turned back around and had pressure for most of the rest of the day. Wheat did see some gains in the midday. However, that turned lower and they were mixed for the last hour or so of trade. Corn had a pretty quiet trading day today, down a few pennies. Now, the livestock complex, that was strong. Lean hogs led the way with triple digits, and at times even the December contract was up $4.40. The fats posted good gains, followed by feeders. With the corn market being lower, they saw some support. Last week's cattle harvest by processors totaled 2.4% higher than the same week last year and above expectations. Packers continued to pull in large number of cattle to gain ownership of the inventory ahead of what is expected to be a notable decline in supplies in the months ahead due to contraction of the breeding herd over the past couple of years, while the lean hog futures found some support largely on the back of a couple of spurts in purchases in what appears to have largely been technical buying as fund managers defended their positions, adding to them as prices rose above various technical points this morning. Let's get a look at the closing commodity numbers. December corn down 5 1/4 at 6.75 3/4. November beans down 11.5 at 14.40. Bean meal December down 1.40 a ton at 4.19. Bean oil December down 84 points at 76.33. Wheat Chicago December down 2 at 8.45 3/4. Kansas City December up 4 at 9.57 1/4. And the December Minneapolis wheat, that is up 7 1/4 at 9.61 3/4. Live kale December up 140 at 153.05. November feeders up 40 at 178.22. And the December lean hogs, they are up 407 at 87.05. While the Dow right now is up almost 400 points, the dollar sits at 109.9, and crude oil is trading down almost a buck at just under $92 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvedt.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. We want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. And we still have not given away our rain gauge yet. And again, you get one guess. That's it. So you can't keep calling back and trying to guess. But we appreciate you listening for sure. So what is the most snow Fargo has received in one storm? What is the record for the snowfall total?
102.
Nate, don't, You're close, but don't give it away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the most snow we've received in a storm, not the most snow Fargo has received in a 24-hour period, but most snow we've received in one storm. 701-293-9000. And again, one call per person.
Yep. And caller, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. What's your name and guess?
My name's Mike. It's 24.4.
Oh, Mike. All right. What year?
1989.
How'd you know that?
Well,
Congrats.
I was supposed to be on the way to go somewhere that day.
And because you cannot Google search that. We had to dig in with the National Weather Service, and they had to go into their archives to find that because so, well, congratulations, Mike. We appreciate it.
You regular listener?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, we appreciate you listening, and
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Well, let's have.
Awesome.
We'll have.
I've been trying to win one of these for a long time.
Awesome.
Well, we're glad you did.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're real nice. They're by Productive Alternatives down in Fergus. So if you want, Mike, can you hang on and have our producer Jacob? He'll get your information.
Sure.
Awesome.
You know when would be a great time for Mike to stop by and get that rain gauge? Next week.
Yes, next week, because, Mike, we have our open house next week, and we want to invite all of our listeners to come by our new studios, help us celebrate our grand opening week. Tuesday the 15th. That's a week from tomorrow. Our building will be open all day from 8 to 5 for a special open house where you are the VIP. Come by, get a tour. You can meet us, say hello, take a selfie with Justin Storm, ask him if that's his real last name or if he just uses that on air. We'll have snacks and beverages as well, and we'll draw for some awesome prizes. Again, that's next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow on the 15th.
Maybe other people will want to come in and be an official post-it note in the weather office with their guests for the Harvest Bowl game, the Bison versus UND.
There you go.
Hey, going back to Halloween, I don't think what was the high temperature on Halloween?
I don't know, but I won.
Yeah, I think Bridgette won. I was too cold. You were too warm. She was
just right.
Just right.
She was just right. Yeah.
All right.
She was just right. So let's take a quick look at the weather around the nation real quick. Pretty large storm system is coming into the Pacific Northwest. This is going to dive down into the Rockies. And remember, this is our stormy part of the LRC. We had one storm over the weekend rip north of us, which gives us all that wind, 63-mile-an-hour wind gusts yesterday.
That was a little
Hang
much.
on to your hat.
Yeah.
My garbage can actually blew over and all that.
So when that cycles back in the LRC, it may be a dry storm. It's probably going to be a little further south as that jet stream dips further south. But we're going to more than likely have the wind with it. And if we have any snowpack on the ground and you're getting strong winds like that, that's going to be crazy. And the next storm in this stormy cycle of the LRC comes in here later this week, giving us some much, much needed moisture. Probably not in the form you're going to want to see it because a lot of it will be in the form of snow, but it will start out as rain on Wednesday. Already winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings posted from Montana all the way down through parts of Utah. And again, that system is going to dive into the Rockies, tap the Gulf of Mexico moisture, and give us some much needed precip, starting out as rain on Wednesday and changing to snow and wind on Thursday, lasting into Friday morning. And there will be some parts of our state that have blizzard conditions favoring areas just out to our west, but it's a close call. A slight shift in the track of that storm could mean a lot less snow because we're right on the dividing line, or a whole lot more snow.
Now, when you say the snow potentially Thursday, Friday, et cetera, is it going to snow all the way to Sunday? Or are we just going to see a 24-hour period?
This is just a Thursday into Friday morning, and then it quickly exits the area.
All right. Good to know for planning purposes for next weekend for anyone who might want to be thinking ahead about what could be going on for activities, et cetera.
Yeah, but the week, from this standpoint, the weekend looks fine. But if you have any travel plans throughout North or South Dakota, keep up to date on the forecast. I know as you head down towards the Twin Cities, they're going to be mainly rain out of this. So we're right on that dividing line where there could be from eastern Clay County into western Cass County, there could be a large variation in snowfall totals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is a tight one. It's we never seem to be in the bullseye of it.
Nah,
we're always kind of right on that fence line of
for now.
You are correct.
I mean, there's a lot of winter.
She's got to throw that out there.
A lot of winter, and there is still time for this storm to change just a little bit. Bridgette, let's go to an ag topic. I remember a few weeks ago, maybe it was a couple months ago, I had made the comment, I wonder how long this is going to last. And today I see we got our answer. that Russia pulled out of the grain treaty with Ukraine.
Okay, they were out, they were in, they were out, they were in. So what's going on there is that with the UN, Russia signed a treaty that they were going to allow Ukrainian grain to move out. And they were holding up to that. It was going fine until about 10 days ago. They said, nope, we don't want to do it anymore. Well, ships had already begun to sail with Ukrainian grain. Remember, this is also grain from 2021 because they have just recently harvested their 22 crop. They really don't even have that in position yet to try to be moving that out to other countries. And so Russia did that for about 3 days where they said, no, now they're back in. Ships again are moving. There's more grain on the move to the countries that need it. There's a lot of countries on the African continent as well as the Middle Eastern countries that are awaiting those shipments to get to them. There's about 12 ships, I believe, that are currently on the ocean and moving. There is some disparaging remarks that Russia might be taking the money off the grain sales and using it to fund the war. I'm not going to confirm or deny that. That's truly what's going on in their politics. But the bottom line is we need that grain to move. We need their current crop to get moving out to those other places as well. And this situation, the agreement that they made right now with the UN is set to expire November 19th. So much like the looming potential for a railroad strike, we will see what Russia does with the UN and if they consider and continue to keep moving grain out.
I'm just going to go with a big old NO. But we'll wait and see. I hope that they do it. It'd be really nice if they actually let that go through.
We do need them to.
Yep. Now, how about on other international affairs?
Okay.
Mexico moves to cut U.S. corn imports.
So the government in Mexico here within the last few months has said that they are, starting in 2024, they do not want U.S. GMO yellow corn moving into Mexico. They didn't want that to potentially cross-pollinate with their heritage white corn varieties. The thing is, though, when they bring corn in from the U.S., it's already been harvested. It's just the kernels. It's not live plants with pollen, etc. So cross-contamination really would not happen. So this is probably more of a political football. The agricultural minister has said, yep, we're probably going to waver on that. But then his backup, his assistant deputy minister said, oh, no, we're not going to waver. So right now there is pressure on the Biden administration to find out what's really going on, file a complaint with them through I think it's called the U.S. Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement, and they're going to need to come to a decision because that would start to impact us next year on what we're going to do with those exports on the U.S. corn crop, and that's a major export market for us. We'll
Interesting.
see where it goes.
And we don't have time for it today, but we'll save this one for tomorrow, and it's something we've talked about not quite a bit, but often. It's the SEC Scope 3, well, it looks like some dairy groups are proposing legislation opposing it.
They are, and there's actually a resolution in the House that looks like it will have favorable bipartisanship on it. So let's touch on that tomorrow as to where it stands. And again, tomorrow, Election Day. Election coverage will be
Get out
all
and vote.
day. Yes.
Yep. Well, thank you for listening to Weather and Ag in Focus today. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Jay Thomas Show's coming up next.
970 WDAY